Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and in the next 3 minutes, we're going to take a look at another chapter in the New Testament. Each weekday, we slow down and walk through one chapter of the New Testament just to take a few minutes to understand what's happening and to think about what it might mean for our lives today in real time. Today, we're in Luke chapter 9, and this chapter is a bit of a turning point. Up until this point, the disciples have mostly been watching Jesus, listening, learning, observing, seeing what he does. But in Luke 9, that starts to change. Jesus sends the 12 disciples out to do the work themselves. They're doing the teaching and healing, announcing the kingdom of God. And he sends them with very little. No extra supplies, no backup plan. They are plan A. The point isn't comfort. The point is trust. Sometimes the only way to grow into something is to actually step into it. Then Luke gives us the story of the feeding of the 5,000. A huge crowd gathers, and the disciples start thinking practically. Send them away so they can find food. But Jesus says something that must have sounded impossible. You give them something to eat. By the way, that's a command, not a suggestion. They only have 5 loaves and 2 fish, not nearly enough based on human understanding. But somehow, in Jesus' hands, it becomes more than enough. It's one of those moments that shows how often we start with what we don't have, while Jesus starts with what already is there. Then comes a really important moment. Jesus asks his disciples a question. Who do people say I am? They give different answers, like John the Baptist, Elijah, one of the prophets, and then he asks the real question. It's not about who others say I am. Who do you say that I am? Peter answers, you are Jesus, the Son of God, the Messiah of the world. And that's the hinge of the chapter. Because right after that, Jesus starts explaining something the disciples didn't expect. That the Messiah, exactly who he is, will actually be a suffering servant. He'll be rejected and he'll be killed. This wasn't the version of victory that people were hoping for. Then Jesus says something that still challenges most of us even to this day. Whoever wants to follow me must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. In other words, following Jesus is not just admiration, it's participation. It reshapes priorities, identity, and direction. Later in the chapter, Jesus is then transfigured, his appearance changes, and his glory becomes visible for a moment. The disciples catch a glimpse of something bigger than they fully understand, but then come back down the mountain and immediately encounter chaos yet again. It's almost like Luke is showing us something important. Life with God includes moments of clarity and awe, but it also happens in the middle of everyday messes. And maybe the central question of Luke 9 is one that Jesus asked his disciples, who do you say I am? Not just historically, not just intellectually, but rather personally. Because the way we answer that question has a way of shaping everything that follows. Thanks for taking this ride with me this morning. Be well, friends.